Hello, this is Natalie from Knits by Nat. Today I want to talk to you about the people I meet in the subway when I'm knitting. How they often tell me they don't know how to knit. They tried knitting, or their grandmother tried to show them how to knit when they were younger and it didn't work. They know how to crochet but not to knit. I'm the opposite. I know how to knit. I'm not so great at crochet. So, I mean, they expect to be able to knit like I do after just a few tries, and that's not how it works. I mean, I learned how to knit with books because in the day we didn't have internet. I'm like talking 30 minimum years ago, and I just grabbed stitch pattern books that my mother had and just yarn, needles, and just knit and knit and knit. And especially now with Knits by Nat, of course, I mean, I knit on a daily basis. I'm always with some knitting on me. So if I'm in the subway, I'm knitting. I'm on Skype with my mother who lives a few hours away. I'll be knitting while we're talking. So, I mean, now there are so many different places people can learn how to knit. If you don't want to go to a knitting shop because there's not one around in your neighborhood, YouTube. There are so many different knitting videos. If there's one person who the way they're showing you how to knit doesn't work, there's always somebody else. That's one thing I'm not great at. I have a hard time showing how to knit. I also knit not continental. I was once told that I was knitting properly because I was, my yarn was in my right hand. It's not curled around my pinky. This pinky does not have yarn around it. I don't like having yarn wrapped around my fingers. So it was so funny because the lady was really telling me that I didn't know how to knit. And this other lady looked at her and said, I think she pretty knows how to knit. Doesn't matter if it's not continental style, which is, or called German or whatever. They hold their yarn in their left hand. I've tried it. Nah, it slows me down, and probably after a while I'd get to be able to knit with it properly, but I'm used to my way, so right now I just like the way I knit. But that's just it. I want to encourage you to try it. I mean, grabbing a ball of yarn is just a few dollars. I wouldn't recommend a very thin yarn, but something like what we call worsted or DK, which is double knitting. It requires 5 millimeter or 4.5 millimeter needles. That's a pretty good size of needle, because working with a very thin yarn and very small needles will drive you batty if you try to learn how to knit. So just, grab some yarn, grab some needles, go to YouTube, look at some of the videos, or, grab a book that shows you how to purl. I mean, there's so many of them that at the beginning of pattern books, they'll show you how to purl, how to knit, and how to do all these things. And then you can just enjoy knitting. So if you want to leave a message in the comments, and tell me if you've tried knitting, if you went out and bought some yarn and did buy some needles and have worked on it. If you have any questions also, if you want to ask me, just leave them in the comments, and bye.